Hi, everybody. Dan Illman and Mike Beer, the DRF race of the day for Thursday, June the 11th, race number 9 at Belmont Park. It's the $80,000 flat-out stakes featuring the 2019 Belmont Stakes winner, Sir Winston. Before we get to the analysis, let me please remind you to try those DRF mobile past performances. Experience true mobile accessibility with DRF Classic PPs anywhere, anytime on your device. Access full cards in seconds fast. Learn more, drf.com/MPPS. Here is the field for race number 9 at Belmont Park on Thursday. The flat out, of course, you do have Sir Winston in here, the number 4, 8-5 morning line favorite. They wanted to run him in the Dubai World Cup, Mike. That meeting was abandoned. This looks like a nice spot to get him back after a victory at Aqueduct.
It really does. I mean, he's a pretty heavy favorite on the morning line. I'm not surprised by that. He looks like the horse to beat for sure in this race. But I'll tell you something, Dan, he's facing a pretty good field here.
Let's take a look at the Timeform U.S. pace projector for this race. It's 1 3/8 miles, and pace could be very important, especially if the 3 Moretti, a horse that acts like he wants to run all day long, actually does stay this additional distance. Moretti projects as the speed for Todd Pletcher and Javier Castellano, and he's been running in good form.
I mean, I guess he has. He's going to have to take a step forward to beat this field and really appreciate the 1 3/8 distance. But he seems like he could, take another step forward in here, which he's going to have to do.
Down towards the inside is a horse with a little bit of tactical speed, and that's the number 1 Prompt, who's coming out of the Grade 3 Howell's Hope Stakes, and that was a race with a wicked pace up front. Prompt came with a little run, but only passed some tired horses. I thought with the pace shown in that race, he should have done a little bit better. It'll be interesting to see how he stretches out. I actually think this distance is going to be good for him.
I think it might too. He's actually been this far on turf before. It didn't run poorly at all going long as a turf horse. And as it turns out, he's probably just better on dirt since he finally got switched over at the end of 2018. It felt like he improved on the main track. I'm not going to be too hard on him for his first 2 starts back off the long layoff. The Challenger was a tough spot against 2 good horses. I know that he had pace last time, Dan, but he just sort of got run off his feet a little. That might not have been ideal for this horse. He hasn't found an easy spot here, but I think this is a spot where he could perform pretty well.
The number 2, Rocketry's first 2 dirt starts were a revelation back in 2018. He won the Temperance Hill at 13 furlongs. He won the marathon on Breeders' Cup weekend at 1 3/4 miles. Now, he's been searching for a victory since that race, but he's run some decent efforts, including a good try in the Brooklyn, where you could argue he was against the bias that day. He went a little bit off form after that race, Mike. I thought the Grand Prix Jockey Club was a race where he didn't have much of a chance because there simply wasn't any pace for him. I wonder if he'll be completely cranked off the layoff, but on his best, he fits with these horses.
I mean, he really does. I realized that he went 0 for 6 last year, and maybe in some of those races he wasn't, that sharp and wasn't at his best, but he was also compromised more than once in some of those races. I'm worried about the layoff for him. I don't know if you're going to get his best race in here, Dan, but I'll tell you something. He's a very dangerous horse in here.
Moretti is up next, the projected pace setter in this race for Todd Pletcher. He's coming off a victory from off of the pace at Oaklawn Park on May the 2nd. Let's watch that race right now. Now, this race was at a shorter distance, but he really came running at the end to get the job done. There's always been a lot of buzz about him, a lot of promise, and he always acted like he wanted to go further. Maybe he just grinds these into the ground on the front end, sort of like his stablemate Marconi did in the Brooklyn last year.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's probably what Pletcher's thinking. They paid a lot of money for this horse. He's been sent long right from the start of his career. At the end of the day, he hasn't really panned out considering the money they paid for him. And, he finally got that allowance win last time. I thought he ran fine in that race we just watched. He worked really hard to win it. Maybe the distance and the trip really works for him here, but I'm going to take a wait and see approach. I think he's facing a really good field here.
The horse to beat's up next. Classic winner Sir Winston, his first race at Belmont since winning the 2019 Belmont with just a wonderful ride from Joel Rosario. Now, unfortunately, he missed the rest of 2019 after the Belmont. He had a turf comebacker that was probably just a prep, and he got back on the beam last time out at a one-turn mile in Aqueduct. I liked this race a lot from Sir Winston. There was not a lot of pace on this day for him, and he still came running. A really nice ride from Dylan Davis to get the job done on Sir Winston here, but he showed he can still run. Just look at him bull his way through horses and overcome this pace disadvantage. He's moving late.
I agree with you. He went really well in here. Once he forced his way off the inside there, he just ran this field over in the final 16th of a mile. A really nice effort for this horse. It feels like he's still got forward to go. You don't have to worry about distance with him. Obviously, he's the Belmont winner. Just a lot to like about him. We'll see what kind of price he goes off. I feel like he's going to be very short in here.
Todd Pletcher trains a lightly raced 5-year-old in Legit. Legit was second last time out over a sloppy track at Gulfstream Park. It was a race that didn't have a lot of pace on for him. He began his career, his first 2 starts, it looked like he was going to live up to his name. He was Legit. And then he went to the sidelines for a year and a half. He's going to have to improve a bit, but here's a Todd Pletcher formulator fact. Past 3 years, horses aged 4 and up in non-graded stake dirt routes at Belmont. He's 5 for 10. All 10 have hit the board, a $3.38 return on investment.
It's a really good stat for a horse who started out his career like he had an awful lot of potential and unfortunately just missed a ton of time. I actually, liked his return. They sprinted him off the layoff, and I actually felt like he showed some life there running late. His last 2 starts have not been good, though, Dan. I'll give him the sloppy track excuse maybe last time, but he didn't run well in that race, and it's not like he's found an easy spot here.
Expert got really good over the winter and into the spring of 2019. He won 4 races in a row, then ran second behind Preservationist, who went on to have a super summer for Centennial Farms and Jimmy Jerkins. And then, unfortunately, Expert went to the sidelines for a long time. That was a tough spot to make a comeback in the Gulfstream Mile against horses like Mr. Freeze, who came back to run third in the Oaklawn Handicap with a 98 Beyer speed figure. I would expect this horse to do a little bit better, but I have a couple of question marks about this distance.
I think you have to worry about the distance with him. I will point out that he's gone 9 furlongs twice in his career. He won both of those races, so maybe he'll stretch out. Listen, I'm a huge fan of his. I'm really looking forward to him getting back to the races and regular racing in New York this year. He's sort of an allowance kind of horse, Dan. I can't bet him in a race like this, but this horse is actually pretty good.
Bluegrass Cat Smile is in career form for trainer Gary Siaka. Second last time out in the Bernardini Stakes behind Adventist. He's a horse that popped a 91 Beyer speed figure last time. He's been around for a long time. Heck, he's been in the exacta 24 of 50 lifetime starts. Let's take this formulator fact with a grain of salt because Bluegrass Cat Smile is going to be one of the biggest prices. Past 5 years, Siaka 4 and up, second off the claim, 3% winners, a 45-cent ROI. This is just a pretty big step up in class, but Bluegrass Cat Smile, he's a true professional.
He is. He likes distance, too, and he just shows up every time. I actually felt like his Bernardini first off the claim was a really good effort because he went after the pace setter in there pretty early and raced that horse for a long way, took over. Adventist came from way out of it and ran him down at the end. I thought he ran really well last time, Dan. We'll see if we can back it up in here.
I think You're to Blame is a little bit interesting for Todd Pletcher. He's run some nice races in the past. They're putting the blinkers back on. He has had success with blinkers in the past. This horse was second to Marconi in that Grand Prix American Jockey Club at Belmont, going 1.5 miles last year, a race where Marconi controlled the pace up front, and this horse just sort of saved ground in behind. Now, he hasn't had a chance to go truly long in his last 3 races. I think stretching out, adding blinkers, it could help this horse a bit.
I mean, listen, he's got plenty of races that would make him really, really tough in here. It feels kind of like, and you're right, to give him the benefit of the doubt maybe for his last 3 races. He probably wants to go a little bit longer. It just feels like he's sort of lost his form a little bit. I don't know that I really trust him in here, Dan, but clearly he's got races that are good enough to beat this field.
When Uriah St. Louis stretched Adventist out last year, this horse found his form. You have to go all the way back to remember that he was actually third in the Withers, Gotham, and Wood Memorial back in 2016 and second in the Ohio Derby that year. He's banged around the claiming and starter allowance ranks since then. But when St. Louis stretched him out in the Greenwood Cup last year, he pulled off a 50-1 upset over some nice horses, War Story and Marconi. And in his most recent race, the aforementioned Bernardini, a race we'll take a look at right now, he got the better of Bluegrass Cat Smile. Now, he's a one-run closer. He needs a little bit of pace to set him up, but St. Louis has gotten him in good form.
I agree with that. I think he really has gotten into good form. He's shown that he appreciates distance. I like the way he finishes in here, Dan, and I do think he got a good trip in here with Bluegrass Cat Smile, doing some of the dirtier work up front. But I like the way that this horse sort of surged home at the end here. He found what he needed to find. He got up relatively easily. I liked his Greenwood Cup at 1.5 miles, as you mentioned, against two really good horses at the end of last year. And I just sort of felt like in this race, he just might get overlooked for the wrong reasons. Those reasons sort of being his connections and the fact that he's a former claimer. I don't know. I feel like he could be a good price in this race, and I'm not so sure that he can't beat this field.
And let's take a look at our top picks for the Flat Out Stakes, the Thursday race of the day. And that's where Mike's going. He's going with Adventist, who's going to be a big price, over Sir Winston, who was the horse to beat. I'm hoping that this layoff did Rocketry a world of good, and that Jimmy Jerkins has him ready back first off of the layoff, because he does have some races. I'm not way against Sir Winston. He is, to me, the horse to beat. I went 2, 4, 9, and 3. Mike, you're getting a price on Adventist, 9, 4, 1, and 2.
That's mostly why I took him. I like his recent form. I think he's going to be a fair price in here. I like you, am not way against Sir Winston in here, but I'll take a shot with this horse.
It's the Flat Out. It's the feature at beautiful Belmont Park on Thursday, and race number 9 is approximate post time of 5:36 Eastern. Best of luck.